I like the point about the vocabulary because, I mean, I find there are a lot of things that are described in literature and modern novels and things that would have been encapsulated by a single word. Having looked at the sort of structure and description of what melancholy is and the other things that it brings to mind, melancholy as a word encapsulates a huge amount of stuff. There's an article, we'll link that article somehow. But it's a lot better in my mind, again, air quotes around better, that's interpretation. But, for me to know that I am someone who experiences melancholy, and I remember a conversation with Gaby where, you don't label yourself as sad in Ireland, you are having some sadness. I can't remember which conversation we had that in. But it's much better for me to go and sit by the lock quietly and think, yeah, got a bit of melancholy going on, than to have somebody say, oh, he's sad. He's always reflecting on the past. Oh, he's always, which to my mind makes it problematic. I don't find my melancholy problematic. I experience it. In fact, I'm going to say it's the thing that I am best at experiencing and letting go, probably because I've experienced it since I was very young. But without that understanding, I would be stuck probably thinking there's something wrong with me. I need to take medication, family members worrying constantly about my state of mind and is he safe? Totally. I'm just melancholic. Leave me alone.
No, I totally get that. And I feel like it's really important to be able to access and tap into this word because of things like that. Like, for me, because I experience melancholy a lot, it's like it's the difference between saying I have a tendency to be depressive, right, or to be like I'm a depressive type, some bullshit. Not really, because I can get out of it. It's not like I sit in it too long. But also, how many times have you or anybody out there listening? And I mean, I know it happens to me sometimes where you're just feeling something, but you don't know what, and nothing's really triggered it. Like nothing specific happened, but you have this feeling of, I don't know, I'm just, that I feel melancholy covers that. So it's like, if you're able to say, I'm just feeling melancholy right now, you don't have to have a reason. It's just all the things because or why I'm feeling this way. And now I need an opportunity to just reflect on it, which could really be a tool that we can use also. We can tap into knowing this is just melancholy, this feeling of loss and yearning for what could have been or what was, could uncover a whole lot of other stuff that might need further exploration, right? In a deeper dive to really kind of heal, so that when you are in melancholy, it doesn't turn into something deeper than that.
And there are other words. One of them that just came to mind is phlegmatic. People say, oh, he's phlegmatic. And it explained an absolute raft of stuff about that person's character traits. I'm remembering some others. Bucolic now is another one. Sanguine, all words that just don't really get used anymore, but told you a whole hell of a lot about not labeling them and saying that they will always be, but you say, yeah, he's kind of sanguine. I've lost track of even what that means. It seems in my mind, it makes me think they're kind of laid back and chill and stuff. But the fact that we've lost this vocabulary is making me feel melancholy. I feel I've got a bit of Veltsmelt coming on.
Veltsmelt.
But it's true. I mean, if you think about it, I find it interesting, Erica, that you use the word a lot, because to be quite honest, I'm sitting here thinking, when did I hear the last time anyone using that word? And I haven't. Straight away, oh, I feel depressed. I'm depressed. I go to the doctor straight away, because I think we we're so obsessed by not feeling certain feelings these days. Like, if I feel those feelings, there's something wrong with me. I have to get out of it. I have to get out of it. And as
Mhm.
you know, the way the mind works, it's more we concentrate on it. So it's more we say, I don't want to feel like this. There must be something wrong. I must suffer of something. And as more you concentrate of, I don't want to feel this sadness. I don't feel like this. As more you will feel it because you concentrate on it,
Mm.
as worse it will get. So you're going from a state of probably melancholy once every so often to 3 times a week, and then, oh my God, this is coming out a lot. I must get a real problem here, to going to the doctor and saying I'm depressed. And I know it's
Mhm.
over simplifying it, but there's a big difference between depression disorder and and a clinic depression, right? So all this, how would the world change if we would allow ourselves to feel that melancholy and say, yeah, I have an evening of melancholy. It's okay tomorrow. Nothing wrong. Everyone has it. Everybody has it. That's the point. But
Mhm.
we personalize it. There must be something wrong with me because I have that now. But everybody has it every so often.
I mean, based on the definitions, just strictly definitions, right? I don't know how anybody could say they don't have it, because everything is constantly changing. We experience loss and yearning constantly in our lives. Things change. So the reminiscing of the way things were. We're all experiencing melancholy. It's just it's like grief. We don't know the name. We don't know what it is. So we just put it in one giant bag of something must be wrong with me because I'm not, skipping around sucking lollipops, rainbow and unicorn all day long. And I'm feeling sort of sad and pensive. I think the pensive, thoughtful, deep reflection is the ingredient here that separates it.
I was just about to comment that melancholy seemed to encompass a number of the things of grief that you talk about. And it occurred to me, I wonder if the downturn in people experiencing melancholy has any correlation at all to the need for people to learn to express and understand grief. Did the one deteriorate as the other grew? I'm not expecting you to have an answer to that. It just crossed my mind. While you
I feel like feelings are meant to be felt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're meant to give you something. So if you're numbing that and you're not feeling that, then it's going to prolong it longer. If I'm in that, if I'm in some kind of grief and I push that off, it's only going to come back again because it wants to be acknowledged. There's a release, or there's something an honoring, or there's something bigger to it that your body wants you to have, right? And then if you do, you can release that grief, you can honor it, you can whatever it may be, right? But you're acknowledging it. When we don't acknowledge the feelings within ourselves, it kind of piles up. And I think that's the disease, right? Disease within our bodies, the non acknowledgement of the feelings, emotions, and whatever else we go through each day. I think that's where that stuff starts to grow. And I don't know. I just feel like it's all kind of with each other, and it's important. It's a part of the human condition that we should all feel.
Yeah, that's why what Alec mentioned earlier is so important, how we use language. Because I only learned that I don't speak Irish, but I learned a few years ago that in Irish, they don't say, I am depressed, I am this, I am that. They don't say that. They say, sadness is up and on me. So it's on me now. Sadness is on me now, but it's just on me. It will be gone again. So they don't, in the Irish language, they don't identify with the emotions. They actually acknowledge that they come and go. Now happiness is on me. Now sadness is on me. Now this is on me, and it comes and goes. And I love that because it takes away the identification with the emotion. It's an acknowledgement. They're all there. They come and go. We experience all of them, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think
And that,
melancholy.
go on, Sarah.
I think melancholy specifically is maybe also quite scary for some people because it's a reflective state that some people might not be ready for to experience, or it feels uncomfortable and scary to experience. And I think that's why a lot of people might be just like, no, I don't want to experience that. I'm depressed, or like I'm going to get medication for this, because they just refuse to feel that way because it's a state that like creates something that they don't usually have in their day-to-day life. I mean, there are people that are like very reflective and like doing things to improve themselves and grow and all kind of stuff. But the average people who are working every day and like having an average life, I would say, they don't have this reflective state maybe, or this growth mindset, as we said before. So at some point being in that state is like, holy shit, this is scary, and like, what, I don't want to be here.
Which brings us straight back to parenting and role modeling, because if a parent is actively involved with their child and recognizes that they have a certain kind of mood change, which I absolutely did. You know, you could guarantee a change in the weather by the way my mood changed. Unrecognized, loads of conversation about, oh, he's a bit sad, he's a bit gloomy, he's a late bloomer because I didn't really talk very much. I know that's hard to believe. But how about just having some knowledge of different states that people experience and helping a young person through? There might not necessarily be the parent. You'd like to think it could be a teacher, but probably not in the modern school system. But should anybody really reach a point in their life where, like you've just said, Sarah, a state like melancholy is so scary, so unfamiliar, nobody's ever spoken to you about it, or even led you to believe that, that's all right, this might just be in your nature. I can't fight melancholy any more than like if there's an unprocessed grief, I have to go through it. And the only way through melancholy is to experience it, and left to experience it and probably write poetry, whether it's good or bad, I'll be fine. But I just need to experience it. And that is true of any other state that we have. I mean, maybe it becomes a bit of a trait, but I don't mind. If somebody says, yeah, Alec, he's a bit melancholy, none of my business. I don't give a shit.
No, you have a good point, because when I listen to you and what Sarah just said, and I think back, like watching what we're doing, everything is pleasure based, isn't it? Even bringing up the kids, making sure they have all the clubs to go to, and everything has to be hunky-dory at all times. Everything has to be nice and at all times. Every weekend has to be happy. Every weekend has to have a lovely activity, and going to this and that, and it's all about going to create happiness. It's almost like an obsession with creating happiness and staying in this peaceful happiness kind of state, and it's impossible. That's not how life works. So if we almost force kind of this happiness into everything, and we don't allow any other feelings. So if we're not allowed to feel the other feelings and know it's normal, because when you said maybe I'm a melancholic person, I doubt it. That's not a character trait. Melancholy is not a character trait. It's something we all feel, but we never talk about it. So maybe, you think you're a melancholic person because nobody ever says, I actually feel the same quite often because nobody talks about it. Or
Nobody
they
talks
misdiagnose it with depression. You know what I mean?
Nobody talks about grief either. I am on a deep dive in the connection between melancholy and grief and all of this working together, and how all the ills of us as individuals and what we carry in the world could be remedied so much if we gave space to these two things and just allowed them to exist and be willing to explore what's at the root of what's making you feel the yearning or the loss or whatever.
So perhaps it is just modern life that prevents us from this. There's pressure from every direction to be doing something, to be productive, to be whatever, where melancholy actually possibly, and I've got like a really Hollywood image here, sat on a window ledge against a rainy window, watching the rain with your journal and just thinking your thoughts. When does modern life allow for that?
I think you got it in one, because I think the main point here is a reflective state, because we are so good in distracting ourselves 24/7. We have to be productive all day, and then in the evening we watch a movie or a series or on TikTok. So we don't even allow ourselves to be reflective anymore because we distract ourselves 24/7. So maybe when somebody acknowledges, I have a lot of melancholy and I'm okay with it. Again, I don't think it's a character trait, but maybe that person just allows themselves to actually have quiet time and be reflective rather than searching for distractions all the time.
I'm laughing / smiling because what's the modern answer to you? It's like, oh, you should journal. You should journal. What? You mean go and have a reflective practice and consider how you're feeling about something? That's fucking melancholy. Just stop messing about with our vocabulary, and we wouldn't have to be telling everybody to go and have a gratitude journal.
I think that's why it's connected to rain for me, because rain is like a forced pause, right? It's almost like I'm allowed permission to not have to be outside doing something or going somewhere. If it's raining, okay. I mean, I could still do those things, but I'm less inclined, and it's okay if I don't. So it pauses me. It's like that forced stop to look. And you painted a picture, right? You're sitting there with a journal writing. I don't have a journal because whatever. I just am not doing that. But it's usually where I'm like staring out a window with a cup of coffee, maybe just looking out into the woods and nature and like the stillness of it all, and where it starts to sink in. But also I have those moments when it doesn't have to be raining for it to only be, I can have experience melancholy in the early morning hours. It's always when that happens because it's this quiet, there's stillness, and I'm able to just sit and like think about all of those things that I might be yearning. It's definitely connected to loss for me, of whatever that means. And I think the difference between grief and melancholy is grief is like you usually, I'm going to say usually, know exactly what it is that it's tied to. Like it's the person or it's the situation or something that you know exactly where the sadness is connected. But melancholy for me is a loss of something I might not be able to touch. Like I don't know what it is, but I know I'm yearning for something that used to be kind of feeling. Interesting. Really interesting topic.
So because one of your definitions of grief that you've shared in the past is yearning for something that is no longer there or has never been. So can your melancholy be yearning for something that has never been?
So specifically for me, it definitely can and has been that what could have been, or the loss of the life, right, that you thought, or the way things are turning out, or anything like that. So it's hand in hand with grief with me. So I'm feeling much better about this conversation, that melancholy is so familiar for me, because I walk in that world, and it makes it's not shocking to me that these things go hand in hand. They're very different things, but they do have similarities, and they're connected in some way, which is why maybe I said it's really familiar. I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with being here because of the way that these feelings are. And it's not in that debilitating kind of feeling, right? It's the acceptance, the realization of, this is what I'm feeling. This is possibly why. Let me look at it. And let's just further exploration of like, what is that? What do I need to be really honest about in order to like release through in these feelings, so that I'm, not in that state. I don't know. It's really like I'm off on a whole thing now.
This is really interesting conversation. I think we should probably look at some other words in future conversations to see where we're being limited by vocabulary or expression. So let's have some closing thoughts. Sarah, I'll come to you first. Our guest of now 5 episodes, I think. We'll probably cut this. It could even be 6. Any thoughts about melancholy or anything else you'd like to wrap us up with?
I think I kind of took myself a little back here, because to be honest, melancholy for me is a very personal space. So that's why I was like, oh my God, am I even going to share anything? Because it's a reflective place, and a place that I take time in, a lot of time in. And I don't refuse to be in it. And like, let me be the Gen Z in the room now. there is a lot of internet, like there's a place on the internet for how do you say, melancholic people. So there's like, if you just write it in YouTube, like melancholic music, you will find lots of like, I don't know, 4 hours videos that are that have like a title that describes a specific feeling. So I usually love to like put myself into such states because I love them so much. So I put on those music sessions, and don't know, make it dark in the room so it's like moody, I guess, and then just sit down and, like Alec, you said, poetry or anything that's like that lets me reflect and think about things. So yeah, this kind of a little bit explains that, like, this space is very personal, and I like love encouraging it, because I feel like my most introspective and creative moments happen in this state.
Amazing. Well, we'll probably try and link something like that to this episode. I'm suddenly excited to go and trawl through YouTube looking for ways I can be a better melancholic person.
Totally. I'm like, oh my God, there's a whole playlist of this where I can like sit in the state for a little bit. I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to up my game. I need to get seriously mopey. Love it. Thank you, Sarah. Anybody else want to? Come on, speak, because I can trim this bit out.
Fine, you go first.
I'm going to have to trim this. Speak.
Speak, someone.
I'll say,
I don't like it when they're there.
Meditation is a good start for taking space for yourself. And so when you go into those places of melancholy, you learn that it's just another space for yourself to reflect, and it's for you. Take that time, allow yourself to go there, feel it, see, smell, whatever comes to you, right? And just allow yourself to be there for what you need. And I'll leave it there.
I think, unless I misheard you, you said smell. Did you say that? I mean, the sense of smell is one of the most evocative of memory that we have. I love that you just put that in there. Gaby?
Yeah, I think for me it comes back down to let ourselves experience everything, because if we experience all emotions and we experience melancholy, we also learn it's something we go into and out to. It's not traumatic, it's not depressive, it's normal. And with that experience we get more self-confident, we get more resilience, because we're not avoiding all the things by all costs, because we know we can go through it and sit through it. It's okay to have that experience. By avoiding it, that's where the problem starts.
Yeah. Erica, our little melancholic flower, do you have anything to finish up with?
Well, I've never been referred to as a flower of any type, but that's number one. And no, I just really love this topic. Like every time we do this and stumble upon something else, it feels like it opens up a whole nother area of exploration to connect, to link things together, right? For deeper understanding of ourselves as humans existing in a world where things are constantly changing and where things are ending all the time. And I think melancholy and grief are a staple of our experience as human beings. And the more we know about these experiences, the better served we are to be able to just navigate and learn our emotions to handle what life gives us without losing the ability to reflect and still be present in the moment and appreciate what is happening in the now.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll leave it there for now. Thanks, Sarah, for being our honorary Gen Z for a number of episodes.
And teaching us how to be better at melancholy with music playlists. I love this idea.
We will see you on another one in the not too distant future. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.